They'll torture us both if you don't untie me now. The silver-scaled creature's voice pierced through the morning mist. Blood trickled from rope burns around her wrists. Her massive belly heaved with each panicked breath. Zara stumbled backward, her clay pot crashing to the forest floor. This couldn't be real. But there she was, a pregnant sea woman, chained to an ancient oak tree. Zara had lived 32 years in the village of Akwit, scraping by in her crumbling mud hut. Her husband Emeka had been dead for 5 years now. Since then, she'd been alone with her twin children, 8-year-old Kimi and baby Adunni. Every dawn, before the roosters crowed, Zara would trudge to the Ogbomoso River. The early hours meant no crowds, no judgment, no whispers about the cursed widow. Today felt different though. The air hummed with electric tension. She'd filled her pot with crystal-clear water and balanced it on her head. But instead of taking her usual path home, something pulled her toward the forbidden forest trail. Through the dense undergrowth, she spotted 3 figures beneath a massive tree. Poachers. "Good morning, hunters," she called politely. They barely glanced her way. Their eyes burned with the fever of men who'd struck gold. "Can't believe we actually caught one," the tallest hunter muttered. "A pregnant one, too," laughed his companion, gold teeth glinting. "The collectors in Lagos will pay triple for this specimen." Zara's blood turned to ice. Specimen? What kind of animal were they talking about? Zara pressed herself against a massive baobab tree, her heart hammering. The hunter's words echoed like thunder. "The boss said pregnant ones are worth 50 million naira minimum," the third hunter whispered. "Their tears alone can grant immortality. And the unborn child's blood can make a man invincible." Zara's hands trembled violently. 50 million naira was more money than existed in her entire village. What creature could possibly be worth such fortune? She should run. Sprint home and forget everything. But curiosity rooted her feet to the earth. "The nets worked perfectly," the gold-toothed hunter continued. "She was laying eggs in shallow waters, never saw us coming." Eggs? What animal laid eggs but was also pregnant? "Stupid creature tried to sing to us," the tall one cackled. "Like her voice could hypnotize us." "Good thing we brought noise-canceling headphones," the third added. "Everyone knows their songs drive men insane." Their songs? Zara's grandmother's stories flooded back. Tales of water spirits who enchanted sailors with voices. Creatures with human torsos but fish tails. Beings from the deepest rivers and oceans. Mermaids. The realization hit like lightning. They had captured a mermaid. A pregnant mermaid. "We should check on her," the tall hunter decided. "Make sure she's still breathing." "She better be," Goldtooth spat. "Dead specimens are worthless." The 3 men shouldered weapons and walked deeper into forest. Zara followed at distance, bare feet silent on mossy ground. Every instinct screamed to turn around. But something stronger than fear pulled her forward. Perhaps the desperation in that otherworldly voice. Or the memory of her own pregnancy vulnerability. The hunter's footsteps faded into distance. Zara waited 5 agonizing minutes before moving. Her legs shook with each step. That's when she heard it. Soft weeping, like a child crying. But this was no child. Behind the tree's massive trunk, bound with industrial rope, was the most beautiful and terrifying sight ever. The creature was undeniably female, delicate, ethereal face, shimmering skin with otherworldly luminescence. Long black hair cascaded like liquid silk. But below her swollen belly, where legs should be, was a magnificent silver tail covered in iridescent scales. Each scale caught morning light like tiny mirrors. Her hands were bound so tightly that purple bruises bloomed across wrists. Her tail was wrapped with rope, making swimming impossible. Completely helpless. When their eyes met, Zara felt the universe shift. The mermaid's gaze held ancient wisdom and desperate hope. "Please," the sea woman whispered, voice like wind chimes. "They're going to harvest my baby. Cut it from my womb while I'm still alive." Tears streamed down luminescent cheeks. Zara's maternal instincts exploded. This was someone's child. Someone's daughter. Someone's unborn baby. What's your name? Zara whispered, kneeling beside the creature. Nerida, the mermaid replied, wincing. I've been trapped here for 2 days. No food, no water, no hope. Zara examined the ropes. Thick as her wrist, designed for supernatural strength. Military-grade restraints requiring time to untie. Time they might not have. My children, Nerida gasped suddenly. I have 3 children waiting in deep waters. If I die, they'll starve. The desperation shattered Zara's heart. Here was a mother, just like her, fighting for children's survival. I'm getting you out, Zara promised, fingers working frantically. But boots were returning through forest. The hunters were coming back. Moving fast. Hide! Nerida hissed urgently, eyes wide with terror. If they find you, they'll kill us both. Zara's blood froze. Heavy boots crushed dead leaves, getting closer. She dove behind giant ferns as voices echoed. Something's wrong, the tall hunter's voice carried clearly. Fresh footprints that weren't here before. Zara's heart nearly stopped. In desperation to help Nerida, she'd left obvious signs. Disturbed earth, broken twigs, bare foot imprints. Someone's been here, Goldtooth snarled. Someone knows about our catch. Through fern fronds, Zara watched them examine the area with military precision. Predators who'd done this many times. The ropes are loosened, the third hunter observed. Someone tried to free her. Nerida whimpered as he tightened bonds cruelly. Who was it? The tall hunter demanded, pressing rifle barrel against Nerida's temple. Tell us or we'll make your death slower. Nerida's tear-filled eyes found Zara's hiding spot. But instead of betraying her, the mermaid lifted her chin defiantly. No one came, she whispered. The wind loosened the knots. The hunter backhanded her face. The sound echoed like gunshot. Zara bit her hand to keep from crying out. Lying witch, he roared. Someone in this village knows. And we're finding them. Goldtooth pulled out satellite phone. Boss, we have a problem, he spoke quietly. A local discovered our operation. His expression darkened as he listened. Understood. We'll handle it. He turned to companions. Change of plans. Moving her to backup location immediately. Then we're going house to house. The third hunter produced a large black bag. This should keep her quiet during transport. Nerida's struggles became frantic. Please. I'm carrying life. The stress could kill my baby. Your baby's worth more dead anyway, the tall hunter laughed coldly. As they forced Nerida into the bag, Zara made a life-changing decision. She couldn't save Nerida alone. But Mama Ezin could help. The village witch doctor who spoke to spirits. Please watch this thrilling story till the end to see who triumphs finally, and tell us in the comments which character you love the most. Don't forget to subscribe and let us know if you want part 2. Let's enjoy. Zara sprinted through forest like a woman possessed. Branches tore at her wrapper, thorns sliced her legs. Every second counted now. The hunters would realize someone witnessed their crime. They'd start searching house by house within hours. She burst through her front door, gasping. Mama! 8-year-old Kimi rushed to her side. You look like you've seen a ghost. If only it were that simple. Pack our things, Zara commanded, voice shaking. We're leaving today. But Mama, what about school? Kimi protested. We don't have time for questions. As she threw belongings into a woven bag, aggressive knocking shattered the silence. Bang! 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 Zara! Open immediately. Funmi's voice, the village's most notorious gossip. If Funmi suspected something, the entire community would know within hours. Zara opened the door just a crack. Good morning, Funmi. Funmi pushed past uninvited, sharp eyes scanning every corner. Where is your water pot? She demanded. Zara's blood turned to ice. My pot. Yes, your clay water pot, Funmi pressed predatorily. I found an abandoned one by the river. Looks exactly like yours. Think of a believable lie. I lent it to my cousin, she said finally. Wedding preparations. Funmi's eyes narrowed suspiciously. Which cousin? You don't know her. Try me. I know everyone in 5 villages. Baby Adunni started crying in the back room. Funmi immediately moved toward the sound. Why is your baby crying so early? And why are there packed bags on your bed? Panic exploded in Zara's chest. We're visiting my mother in Ibadan. Since when do you have family in Ibadan? Funmi challenged. You said your mother died in childbirth. The woman's memory was terrifyingly accurate. Just then, voices erupted outside. Male voices. Angry voices. Getting closer. Through the window, Zara glimpsed 3 hunters marching through village center, questioning every person they met. Getting closer with each passing minute. Those men smell like death, Funmi whispered, surprisingly helping. Leave through back door. Pretend you never came here. The knock wasn't a request. It was a demand. Boom. 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 Open up. Security forces. Zara's heart hammered as she approached. Through the crack, all 3 hunters stood there. Now they wore official-looking badges and carried clipboards, pretending to be government agents. Good morning, officers, she said steadily. Routine security sweep, the tall hunter announced. Looking for suspicious activity. May we come in? They pushed past into the small hut, eyes cataloging every detail. Baby Adunni whimpered from bedroom. Kimi hugged her mother's leg tightly. Nice family, Goldtooth commented, smile cold as winter. Would hate for anything to happen. The threat was crystal clear. We found an abandoned water pot by the river, the 3rd hunter said casually. Right next to disturbing evidence. Zara's mouth went dry. What kind of evidence? Blood, the tall hunter replied, watching her reaction. Animal blood, we think. Possibly from illegal poaching. They were testing her. Seeing if she'd reveal knowledge of Nerida. I wouldn't know anything, Zara managed. I rarely go to the river. Really? The tall hunter pulled out his phone. We have security footage from hidden cameras. Zara's knees nearly buckled. They were lying, no cameras existed in forest. But her terror showed on her face. Interesting reaction, Goldtooth observed. For someone who rarely goes there. Baby Adunni's crying grew louder. Shut that child up, the tall one snapped. We're conducting an interview. Protective fury blazed in Zara's chest. Don't you dare speak about my children. The temperature dropped 10 degrees. All 3 hunters stared at her. Excuse me, the tall one asked softly. I said don't speak about my children, Zara repeated stronger. They've done nothing wrong. Neither have I. So unless you have an actual warrant, get out. The hunters exchanged glances. Goldtooth began laughing. She's got spirit. Makes breaking them more satisfying. Through the window, she saw Salvation. Mama Ezin approaching with ancient walking stick. The witch doctor was coming. Mama Ezin appeared in the doorway like an avenging spirit. At 93, she stood barely 5 feet tall. But the aura surrounding her made the room electric. Her cataract-clouded eyes somehow saw everything, including the truth about these hunters. You don't belong here, she said quietly, voice carrying ancient authority. The hunters turned, initially dismissive, until they looked into those milk-white eyes, and saw something that froze their blood. Just harmless old woman, the tall hunter muttered, lacking conviction. Official business, grandmother. Mama Ezin stepped fully inside. Temperature dropped with each footstep. Official business, she repeated, amused. Hunting water spirits for profit is official now. The hunters' faces went pale. How could she possibly know? I don't know what you're talking about, Goldtooth stammered. Mama Ezin began laughing. Sound like wind through cemetery trees. Child, I've been speaking to spirits since before your grandfather's birth. The river told me everything. Every cruel word spoken. Every rope tied. Every tear she shed. The third hunter reached for his weapon. Hand shaking. Stay back, old woman. We don't want trouble. Trouble. Mama Ezin's eyes began glowing. You already brought trouble to my domain. You harmed a sacred daughter of water. Now face consequences. She raised her ancient walking stick. Carved symbols pulsed with ethereal energy. What the hell? The tall hunter whispered. Air in the room started vibrating. Zara felt hair stand up. Baby Adunni stopped crying abruptly. Even insects outside fell silent. I call upon spirits of the deep, Mama Ezin chanted, voice echoing impossibly. I call upon ancestors of water realm. I call upon fury of ancient mothers. The hunters' weapons became burning hot. They dropped them, crying out in pain. Stop this, Goldtooth shouted. You're just crazy old woman. Crazy. Mama Ezin smiled, revealing teeth carved with mystical symbols. Let me show you crazy. She pointed her walking stick directly at him. Suddenly, his mouth filled with river water, gallons pouring down his throat. He couldn't breathe, speak, or scream. Just stood drowning on dry land. Where is Nerida? Mama Ezin demanded. The tall hunter confessed everything. Old mining facility. Section C underground. The hunters fled in terror. 20 minutes later, Zara followed Mama Ezin through thickest forest. The old woman moved with impossible agility. Her walking stick guided them along paths existing only in spirit world. The children will be safe, Mama Ezin assured. I placed protection ward around your hut. Nothing evil can enter while we're gone. Zara's heart ached leaving Kimi and Adunni. But this rescue was too dangerous for children. And too important to abandon. Tell me about Nerida, Zara requested as they walked. How did you know her name? Mama Ezin paused beside a massive Iroko tree. Nerida is no ordinary mermaid, she explained. She is the last surviving princess of the ancient Ogbomoso water kingdom. Her bloodline carries magic dating back 3,000 years. Zara's eyes widened. A princess. The hunters don't realize what they've captured, Mama Ezin continued. They think she's just another rare creature to sell. But her child will be the bridge between two worlds. Half human, half water spirit. Born to unite land and sea kingdoms divided since the Great War. The magnitude was overwhelming. Why me? Zara whispered. Why did I find her? Mama Ezin's eyes seemed to see through time. Because your ancestor, great-great-grandmother Adana, once saved a water prince from drowning. The debt of gratitude passed down through generations. Today, it was your turn to honor that ancient bond. They reached the old mining facility. Rusted machinery and abandoned buildings stretched like dead giant bones. The place reeked of neglect and danger. Section C is underground. Mama Ezin pointed to concrete structure. They've taken her to flooded chambers. Hoping water will keep her alive longer. Can your magic get us inside? Zara asked. The old woman shook her head grimly. This place is protected by technology, not spirits. We'll need human methods. And human courage. They crept closer to the facility. Through broken windows, generator-powered lights flickered in depths. There, Mama Ezin whispered, pointing to ventilation shaft. You're small enough to fit. But I'm too old for such adventures. Zara's stomach dropped. You want me to go alone? Not alone, the witch doctor smiled mysteriously. She began chanting in ancient language. Words shimmered like heat waves. Shadows began moving, taking shape, forming translucent figures. Spirits of ancestors. Warriors who died protecting the water kingdom. They will guide you, Mama Ezin explained. But remember, free Nerida before midnight. Why midnight? Because that's when her labor begins. If her child is born in captivity, surrounded by hatred. Her voice grew heavy with dread. The baby will be corrupted. Instead of uniting kingdoms, it will destroy them both. The ventilation shaft was a nightmare of rusted metal and suffocating darkness. Zara crawled through the narrow tunnel, elbows and knees scraping jagged edges. Ghostly warriors floated ahead, translucent forms providing the only light. Behind her, the entrance disappeared completely. No turning back now. The shaft angled downward sharply. Zara braced against walls to keep from sliding into depths. Air grew thick and humid. She smelled something terrible: stagnant water, decay, and fear. After what felt like hours, she reached a grate overlooking underground chambers. Through metal slats, she saw horror below. The facility had been flooded deliberately. 3 feet of murky water covered concrete floor. Emergency lights cast eerie shadows. And there, in the center, was Nerida, the mermaid princess suspended in metal cage above water. Hands chained to cage top. Magnificent tail dangling through bottom bars. Barely conscious. Breathing labored and irregular. Belly grown even larger, baby coming soon. Around the chamber's perimeter, sophisticated equipment hummed ominously. Heart monitors, 4 drips, surgical instruments. The hunters weren't just planning to harvest Nerida's baby. They were performing extraction while she was alive, keeping her conscious to collect tears of agony. According to legend, mother's tears during childbirth contained purest water magic. Zara's stomach churned with rage. But before she could reach Nerida, voices echoed through tunnels. "The buyers will be here at midnight," a new voice said. Someone with authority. Someone in charge. "Everything prepared?" asked a woman with crisp British accent. Sedatives to keep her calm, stimulants to accelerate labor, collection devices for tears and blood. "And the child will be extracted via cesarean the moment it crowns," the authoritative voice replied coldly. "We'll harvest organs while heart still beats. Maximum potency that way." Zara bit her fist to keep from screaming. These weren't just hunters. They were international trafficking ring, selling magical creatures to highest bidders. And Nerida was their latest prize. The ghostly warriors floating beside her began moving, pointing toward access ladder on far wall. This was her way down. Zara unscrewed the ventilation grate quietly, and lowered herself into the chamber of horrors. The moment her feet touched flooded floor, Nerida's eyes snapped open. Hope blazed across her face like sunrise. "Zara," she whispered. "I'm here," Zara whispered back, wading toward suspended cage. "I'm getting you out." But alarms began blaring throughout facility. Red lights flashed. Doors slammed shut. Heavy footsteps thundered down corridors. Someone detected the breach. The rescue mission had become a death trap. Chamber doors burst open with explosive force. 5 armed figures in tactical gear flooded the room. Leading them was a tall woman with platinum blonde hair and Arctic ice eyes. Dr. Victoria Blackthorne, infamous collector of supernatural specimens. "Well, well," she purred, British accent sharp as broken glass. "Our village hero decided to join the party." Zara stood frozen in chest-deep water, hand still reaching toward Nerida's cage. Ghostly warriors surrounding her were invisible to everyone else. But she felt their ancient rage building like storm. "Step away from the merchandise," Dr. Blackthorne commanded, raising strange weapon. Not a gun, something crackling with electrical energy. "Merchandise." Zara's voice shook with fury. "She's a pregnant woman." "She's $1 million commodity," Dr. Blackthorne corrected coldly. "And you've contaminated a sterile environment. We'll have to sterilize everything now. Starting with you." Above them, Nerida's breathing became rapid and panicked. Eyes rolled back as massive contractions seized her body. "No, no, no," she gasped. "Not here. Not like this." "The baby's coming," one tactical team shouted. Dr. Blackthorne's eyes lit with greed. Perfect timing. Begin extraction protocol. I want everything: tears, blood, amniotic fluid, and child's first breath. That combination will make us immortal. The ghostly warriors around Zara began solidifying, becoming visible to everyone in chamber. Ancient African warriors with spears and shields. Water spirits with flowing robes and ocean-deep eyes. Ancestors Nereida's people called for protection. What the hell? One tactical team whispered. Dr. Blackthorn's confident expression faltered. Holographic projections, she decided. Clever, but useless. She fired energy weapon directly at largest warrior spirit. Bolt passed harmlessly through him. But his spear, when thrown, was devastatingly real. It pierced Dr. Blackthorn's shoulder, pinning her to concrete wall. Chaos erupted. Tactical team opened fire on targets they couldn't hurt. Warrior spirits fought back with weapons forged in spirit realm. In the middle, Nereida screamed as labor intensified. Zara forgot about battle raging around her. Forgot about danger to her own life. All she saw was Mother in agony, trapped and helpless. She lunged toward Cage's control panel. Bullets whizzed past her head. Energy bolts singed her wrapper. But nothing could stop maternal instinct in overdrive. She smashed control panel with broken equipment. Cage door swung open. Nereida collapsed into Zara's arms, massive belly contracting violently. The baby, Nereida gasped between screams. Something's wrong. That's when Zara saw it. Water around them beginning to glow. Not with artificial light, but otherworldly luminescence. Nereida's child was fighting to be born. Its power already affecting physical world. Concrete walls began cracking. Water pressure from underground rivers increased dramatically. Support beams groaned under impossible stress. Everyone out. Dr. Blackthorn screamed, pulling spear from shoulder. The whole place is collapsing. Too late for evacuation. Ancient magic being born was reshaping reality itself. The underground chamber filled with impossible light. Not harsh electricity, but soft luminescence of deep ocean waters touched by moonlight. Nereida's screams echoed off cracking walls as her child fought to enter the world. Each contraction sent shockwaves through flooded facility. Water around them began rising, defying gravity and physics. It swirled upward in spirals, creating protective cocoon around mother and child. Zara found herself breathing underwater without drowning. Magical waters sustained her as she supported Nereida through most intense labor in recorded history. I can see the head. Zara shouted, voice strange in enchanted water. Baby skull crowned with tiny, iridescent scales shifting between silver and gold. But as child emerged further, Zara gasped in amazement. From waist down, it had perfect mermaid tail like its mother. But from waist up, appeared completely human. The bridge between worlds, just as Mama Ezin predicted. Around them, battle between Dr. Blackthorn's team and warrior spirits reached crescendo. But combatants moved as if trapped in slow motion. Time itself bent around birthing waters. One more push, Zara encouraged, hand steady despite chaos. Nereida's final scream shattered every piece of glass in facility. Baby slipped into Zara's arms, immediately breathing magical water as naturally as air. Its eyes opened, one green as deepest ocean, one brown as fertile earth. Child of two worlds had arrived. The moment it drew first breath, everything changed. Risen water began glowing blindingly bright. Energy pulsed outward from newborn in expanding rings. Each pulse healed facilities' cracks, purified contaminated water, restored life to everything it touched. But it also revealed terrifying truth. Dr. Blackthorn hadn't come for just one mermaid. Hidden chambers throughout facility began illuminating. Dozens of tanks containing other captured water spirits. Children, elders, entire families imprisoned for experimentation. Trafficking ring was massive, international, utterly monstrous. No, Nereida whispered, seeing her people trapped in glass prisons. They took everyone. Newborn in Zara's arms seemed to understand. Tiny hands reached toward trapped spirits. Something incredible happened. Light poured from baby's fingertips. Not destructive energy, but pure healing power. Every tank in facility cracked simultaneously. Water spirits who'd been dying in captivity suddenly surged with renewed life. They burst from prisons with fury of ancient ocean. Dr. Blackthorn's tactical team didn't stand a chance. But scientist herself was far from finished. As her operation crumbled, she pulled out one final weapon. Device she'd saved for exactly this scenario. If I can't have the child, she snarled, shoulder bleeding profusely, then no one can. Device began humming with malevolent energy. Not meant to kill them. Designed to trap them. Create temporal prison where time moved differently. Where baby would age rapidly while she studied its development. Where Nerida and Zara would watch helplessly as child grew in captivity. Dr. Blackthorn's finger moved toward activation switch. But she never got the chance. Because Mama Ezin had arrived. And the old witch doctor was absolutely furious. Mama Ezin descended through flooded facility like a venging goddess. Water parted before her, creating stairs of liquid light. Ancient walking stick blazed with power that made sun look dim. But expression on her face truly terrified everyone present. "Victoria," she said softly, voice carrying weight of decades. "I told you 40 years ago to stay away from my people." Dr. Blackthorn's face went white as bone. "Ezin? But you're supposed to be dead." "I was," Mama Ezin replied calmly. "You killed me in Lagos in 1983. Shot me 3 times in chest for protecting those children you wanted to experiment on." Zara's world tilted sideways. The witch doctor she'd known her entire life had been murdered decades ago. "But death," Mama Ezin continued, floating closer, "is just another kingdom to rule. And I've spent 40 years building an army." Warrior spirits surrounding them weren't random ancestors. They were every person Dr. Blackthorn had killed in her quest for supernatural specimens. Hundreds of victims from around the world. All waiting for their chance at justice. "The child," Dr. Blackthorn gasped, realizing her situation was hopeless. "It's not natural. It will destroy the balance." "That child," Mama Ezin's voice became gentle, looking at newborn in Zara's arms, "is my great-great-granddaughter." Zara nearly dropped the baby in shock. "What?" "Nerida is my descendant," the witch doctor explained. "Water Kingdom and Land Kingdom were never separate. They were divided by people like Victoria, who wanted to harvest our magic. This child reunites what was always meant to be one family." Baby gurgled happily, reaching tiny hands toward Mama Ezin. But Dr. Blackthorn wasn't finished. With last breath of defiance, she activated temporal device. "If I'm going down, I'm taking all of you." Machine began warping reality around them. Time started moving in impossible directions. Past, present, and future collided in kaleidoscope of chaos. Zara saw flashes of what could be. Her children growing up without her. Village discovering her secret. Dr. Blackthorn's organization hunting every magical being on Earth. But she also saw something else. Baby in her arms, grown to adulthood, leading peaceful union between land and sea. Oceans cleaned of pollution. Droughts ending as water spirits shared abundance. World where magic and technology worked together. "Choose," Mama Ezin said, voice echoing through temporal storm. "Save yourself and return to your old life. Or sacrifice everything to ensure this future comes to pass." Zara looked down at baby. Those mismatched eyes, one ocean, one earth, stared back with ancient wisdom. This child would change everything. But only if someone paid the price. "I choose the future," Zara whispered. And threw herself and baby directly into heart of temporal device. Last thing she saw was Dr. Blackthorn's scream of rage. Last thing she heard was Nerida calling her name. Then everything went white. When light faded, Zara stood in her own village. But 40 years had passed in an instant. Her children were grown, with children of their own. Village had become thriving city where mermaids swam openly in expanded rivers. Where magic and technology created wonders beyond imagination. and where bronze statue stood in central square. A statue of woman holding baby, with inscription that read, Zara the Bridge Keeper, who sacrificed everything so two worlds could become one. She had saved the future, but at cost of ever being able to live in it. Zara was now unstuck in time, forever guardian of bridge between worlds. Forever alone. Forever watching over peace she had died to create.
If this heart-wrenching emotional story has touched something deep in you, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to my channel, and share your thoughts in the comments.